Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm Trevor with Maker Experiment, and today we're going to talk about how to bond acrylic. For this video, I want to talk about 4 different adhesives that I either see people use or that I use myself. The first one is CA glue. I see a lot of people use this for acrylic, and the main reason I want to include it is to show the comparison of how CA glue stacks up against actual acrylic solvents. Next are the liquid acrylic solvents, which are things like Weld On 3, Weld On 4, and Acryfix from Acrylic. The next one is Grip 16, which is an acrylic solvent that is thicker, so it kind of goes on like E6000 glue if you've ever used that before. The consistency looks a lot like maybe a hot glue gun when it comes out, so it can be a little stringy when you're using it, and it can make kind of a mess, but it is really good at bonding acrylic. And then the last one, which is my favorite for sign work, is going to be my double-sided tape, which is the 467 MP from 3M. For these examples, I'm going to take 2 pieces of clear acrylic and bond them face to face. And then I'm going to take 2 more pieces of acrylic and then bond them so they are perpendicular to each other to show how to glue the edges. And then at the end, I'm going to purposely try to break them apart to see how well they bonded to each other and which one may be best in each application. The other reason I'm using clear acrylic is any kind of surface issues or marring to the surface or chemical reactions that may occur will be easier to see on the clear. And because clear is used in a lot of applications such as fish tanks, sign displays, and other things, seeing how the glue will look on a clear piece as far as a surface finish and final finish, I think will show off each glue the best. So let's go ahead and start by gluing them face to face. So the first one I'm going to use is the medium formula CA glue from Starbond. It's just kind of a general purpose formula, but I've also seen people use this one to bond acrylic in some of their videos. So what I'm gonna do is just put some on the surface of the acrylic and then basically sandwich the 2 pieces together and just hold it in place until it dries. For this, I am using 1/4 inch clear cast acrylic. Some people have gotten different results based on whether it is cast or extruded. Okay, so this one is dry. I can't really pull them apart at the moment. I can glue my fingers together though. You can kind of see air bubbles pretty much everywhere. So if you're bonding clear acrylic face to face, you will potentially get some of these issues. Does it glue it together? Yes, it does glue it together, but this is the surface finish that you will end up with. Next, I'm going to be using Weld On 4, which is similar to Weld On 3. It comes in a can kind of like this. It's also similar to this Acryfix type of adhesive as well. It's a very liquidy, kind of like water consistency. So for this, you typically glue the edges, but for the purpose of this video and better comparison, I'm going to go ahead and spread it on the surface, just like I did with the CA glue. So I'm going to go ahead, kind of put it all over the surface. You see it might be difficult to tell, but it is on there. I usually hold it for maybe 20-30 seconds, just to be sure that it actually holds together. Again, keep in mind, you would probably sandwich these together and then glue along the edge. You typically wouldn't glue along the face with this type of adhesive. Okay, so it looks like it is dry. And I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see this on camera, but there are kind of like fractal patterns where the adhesive is. So as a side-by-side comparison, the CA glue actually looks better. So the one in this hand is the CA glue that has a few splotches. The one in this hand is the Weld On 4, which has a lot more. But here they are side by side. Bonding wise, the Weld On 4 is actually an acrylic solvent. So it does have like a chemical reaction that fuses the 2 pieces of acrylic together. So while this is like a surface bond for CA glue, this is more of like a chemical bond for the Weld On 4. Next, I'm going to use the Grip 16. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same method. This type of adhesive is a much lower viscosity. so it looks more syrupy, I guess is the best way to put it. You can kind of see that it gets these strings when you're trying to glue it together, and it can run off. So I typically try to cap it right after I glue whatever I'm doing. Have it on this surface, going to go ahead and stick the other block on and just push it down and hold it again for about 20 seconds. So this one, you can see, also has some kind of fractal looking drying on the inside. So again, this is not ideal for face-to-face glue-ups if you're using clear acrylic, but the bond will be stronger than just like a typical CA glue. And then the last one is my favorite, which is the 3M tape. So it ends up looking like this on the backside. I'm going to go ahead and trim this up, make sure I flatten that out. So I usually use a scraper like this one from my vinyl machine. Just make sure that all of the little air bubbles are out of it. If you do end up having a little air bubble, you can puncture it and then squeeze the air out through that puncture. So when you're ready, you can just peel the backing off of the tape. So it's basically just a double-sided tape. You just peel it off and put the two pieces together. The good part about this stuff is it is pretty much instant. But again, you'll see if you're using clear acrylic, it doesn't have the best surface because you put a layer of film in between. So although it is strong, it doesn't look that great. So this one is the CA glue. This one is the Weld-On 4. This one is the Side-Grip 16. And then this one is the Sign tape. So from a clear looks perspective, the CA glue turned out the best. Again, if you're going to be gluing a clear acrylic face to face like this, you're going to want to actually glue the edges and not the face. The only reason I did the face is to show you what it does to the surface. Okay, so for this example, I'm going to glue them like this in the middle. So we'll see how this turns out. So I'm just going to run a bead of CA glue along one edge. Once this side dries, I'm going to go ahead and run it on the other side too. I just don't want this to move too much while I'm holding it. From the bottom, you can really only see like small streaks, but I'm going to go ahead and set this one off to the side, and we will come back to this one once the rest are done. The next one is the Weld-On 4. Same thing, I'm going to make them perpendicular to each other and just run a bead of the solvent down the side. So with this type of adhesive, it actually goes underneath of that surface, so it seeps down in between the two and actually gets on the underface no matter what you do. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that one to the side as well, and we will come back to that once they're all finished. So this one for Side-Grip 16 is going to be messier, so I'm going to actually put it on the paper towel. I'm going to try to do it the same way. Keep in mind this is a lot thicker and is not the adhesive that I would use for this application, but we're going to try our best to do this. And you can already tell that it's not ideal because it kind of just seeps out everywhere. So here's how this one looks so far. You can tell it is very thick and goopy, and it doesn't look all that great either. But we're gonna go ahead and set that one to the side as well. For bonding things at a perpendicular angle like this, I wouldn't recommend using the tape because it's just not gonna be as strong as the solvents. But we're going to go ahead and peel that off, bond it straight down. So it is there, it is bonded, but let's go ahead and put them side by side. The first one, which is the CA glue, does have some surface finish issues. The next, which is the Weld-On 4, actually looks the cleanest out of all of these. So it's got a nice surface finish because this is actually the intended application for Weld-On 4. The Side-Grip 16, which looks terrible from a surface finish perspective, but it is dry. It didn't stick to the poster board like the CA glue did. And then the sign tape doesn't look so bad, but I know that this isn't going to be as strong. So what we're going to do is take these 4 and we're going to try to break them. I went ahead and let all of the acrylic cure for the full time that it needed. So the longest one was about 72 hours. I went ahead and let them sit for 5 days. Now that I've waited the full cure time for each one of these, I want to go ahead and drop them, see how durable they are from a bonding perspective, see if they hold together. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop these from about 5 feet high or so, straight onto my concrete floor, and we'll see how durable they are. So the first one that I'm dropping is going to be the Star Bond one. So let's go ahead and try that one. Okay, so I dropped the Star Bond one, and it took 1 drop and split into 2. So that one wasn't super durable. Next, we're gonna try the Grip 16. So let me grab that one. Just remember that Grip 16 is an acrylic adhesive and should do better than the Star Bond. So let's go ahead and try that one. Okay, so it held up to drop number 1. Held up to drop number 2. So let's go ahead and move on to the Weld On 4. If that one holds up, then we'll see how long it takes to purposely break these. And this one stayed intact, but let's go ahead and drop it again just to make sure. And it's still intact. And then the sign tape. And pretty much what I expected to happen, which is for it to snap in 2 pretty much right away. Let's see if we can actually break either one of these 2. Okay, so this one, which is the Weld On 4, after surviving 2 breaks, it did snap when I took it against the edge of the workbench. Here's the Grip 16 one. So I'm just gonna go and try to break it over the edge of this. It's definitely not easy to do it by hand. Well, so doing it by hand is not going to be easy, so let's try a hammer. There we go. So it does break when you hit it with a hammer. That was more just for fun. Overall, if you're going to be gluing together acrylic, I would recommend the actual acrylic adhesives. Because they're specifically designed for that. Will Star Bond work in a pinch? Yes, it will work in a pinch. It's just maybe not the most durable way to do it long term. If you're doing a sign or something like that that's flat, the sign tape is actually the easiest way. That's gonna do it for this video. If you like what you saw, leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I try to come out with a new video each week. And be sure to check out my Instagram @MakerExperiment, where I share process videos along the way. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.